All right.
That was worse than TXX.
Now we're on. Now we're on.
This is actually take 2, just for full disclosure. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the Riker Maneuver to talk about the latest episode.
What
The
did
Riker
you say?
what?
The Riker what?
Maneuver.
Maneuver.
See, that's how amazing this episode was. Is he can't even talk right.
Perfectionists. Anyway, my name is Samuel Locke. Over here we have.
Hey guys, it's Jordan, aka Lambertram.
And you've got Josh, aka the Goldman, aka the face of radio. That's good, right? Right? When people tell me, "Hey, you've got a face for radio," that's a good thing, right?
I don't think anyone's using that. You can totally use that.
Okay, I'm gonna use that hashtag Josh, the face for radio.
We can call him Radio Face.
Radio Face.
That sounds like a Batman villain. That is awesome.
It sounds like a good call sign. Radio Face.
I'll take over for Taser Face.
Yeah, Radio Face is on it.
Oh goodness. So
that's great.
Today we have a hell of an episode. Jesus.
I was whelmed. I'm not gonna call it a hell of an episode.
Oh, this is my
I was
favorite
appropriately
episode
whelmed.
so far. Goodness.
And I'm gonna say it again. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Internet.
I'm
Fanboys were
so
right.
mad.
The fan theories were correct.
Pop Culture Renegades 1, Internet 2.
However, I will say, starting 2 days ago, like I'm just reading like all these things online, all these fan theories, and not even fan theories, but just people discussing the last episode, and I got to thinking, I was like, they're right.
That's the problem. Fanboys
The
are
thing
ruining
is, though,
everything.
but the thing is that when this theory first got tossed out, it was not. They didn't have any basis for it. It was way early. They were just throwing shit at the wall to see what stuck.
Hold on, just keep in mind.
What fan theory?
But yeah, exactly. What fan theory are we talking about, guys?
It's Mirror Lorca.
Spoiler
alert.
Spoiler
Mirror
alert.
Lorca.
Sorry if you didn't watch it, but if you're here, you've probably watched it already.
We hope you watched it already, though.
So the Lorca that you see on the show is actually from the Mirror Universe. He died in this one.
But we still don't know how.
We don't know what happened to our Lorca, though.
We don't know what happened to our Lorca. We don't know how Mirror Lorca got from the Mirror Universe over to our universe. We were talking about this a little bit before.
It was a boom.
The cobalt.
It was a big kaboom.
Which I still have those videos that you made, so we'll put those up.
Yeah.
Because we actually talk about that a little bit.
Earth-shattering kaboom. Marvin the Martian, anyone?
So the theory here at Pop Culture Renegades is that we have tri-cobalt exploders that basically warped this Lorca into the other universe, and other Lorca actually died on the planet with his actual crew.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Now here's the thing, though. Lorca, like Mirror Lorca, would have to kind of figure out how our entire universe works in order for that to technically be a thing.
Well, here's the thing.
He doesn't have to do that.
Well, no. So he was Georgiou's trusted advisor. He was in really good with her, so chances are he knew about the Defiant.
Right.
So he probably looked through all of those logs, read all of the information about the Federation, and learned everything that he could about the Prime Universe before coming over.
Well, the question then becomes, now there's a new question. Now that we know he's Mirror Lorca, why did he leave? Because obviously...
Well, we
they
know why
explained that.
Yeah,
did you watch the episode?
I did, but there's so much going on.
His Michael died. Mirror Michael Burnham died.
Yeah, Mirror Michael Burnham died.
So
yes.
he came over to our universe
to get our Michael Burnham
so that he could go back onto the Palace ship
to kill Georgiou. He blatantly says that.
Right. I didn't have that in my notes. My bad. Anyway, like I said, there's a lot to process in this episode.
There's so much to process. I mean, Stamets and Mirror Stamets and Culber.
Yeah.
And
that was such a sweet scene. I just love them.
Mycel Network.
Mycel Network. They ate the ganglia.
They ate the ganglia. Can we make that a hashtag too? Like, let's
eat
make
the
that
ganglia.
Hashtag
Eat the
ganglia.
Oh my god, I feel so bad for Kelpians everywhere. Like I like it's not even.
I mean, people eat kelp, right?
No, it's not even a real creature, and like in the world.
Wait,
like,
you feel bad for Kelpians, and you ate a fucking hamburger for dinner, dude.
She's just like holding it out to her too. She's just like, here, have some ganglia.
And you're just like, no.
I don't know, like, threat ganglia.
I like that you have more empathy for a fake alien species than the species we live with here on our planet.
Yes, I do. I have more empathy. Well, I mean, and the funny thing is, like Doug Jones' character, I didn't even give a shit about in the beginning of this series, and now I'm just like, ooh.
Well, his character has come a long way. Like, I mean, what he did when, I guess before I talk about that, so let's talk about Vogue for a second. We're gonna skip around a lot because there's like a lot going on. But so talking about Vogue, I mean, obviously we learned last week that again the internet was right.
Vogue.
Ash is Vogue. Vogue is Ash. And this week we got a little bit more information about how that happened, and it seems like they rebuilt Ash
Frankensteined him
from scratch, and they Frankensteined him together and put Vogue's personality on top of his, not Tyler's personality on top of Vogue's.
No.
So does that mean like they just got like a random arm from this guy and a random leg from
No.
It sounds like
it sounded like they harvested Ash's body, or salvaged Ash's body.
Yeah, Ash died.
They
cut him open. They took organs, put in good organs.
Right. Yeah.
Then they took in Vogue and then put Vogue on top of that. So they made a turducken, actually.
Yeah.
They made a turducken of Klingon human.
Whom Klingon?
Klingmon. A Klingmon.
Klingmon. I don't.
Like a Jamaican Klingon.
Oh God, this is getting worse and worse the longer we go on.
So anyway, Saru was trying to figure out how to help
fix it.
Okay, so the question now becomes: do you think Michael's gonna like tell Saru, "Oh, by the way, I ate one of your people"?
No.
So come on, it's
Well,
gotta come
no,
out.
I don't think she will, because she blatantly lied to him last week when he said there aren't that many Kelpians. Do you see them in the mirror universe?
Yeah. She was like, no,
and she blatantly said no because she didn't want to tell him that they were a serving class.
Yeah.
But he's gonna find out because they're bringing the.
But now they're a being served class.
Oh,
that
was bad.
Here's the thing: the Discovery's gonna come over, and then when they realize that Saru is basically kind of captain while both Lorca and Michael are gone, like the Emperor's gonna be like, "Oh look, there's food driving the ship."
Maybe
you've heard of a drive-through. Now we've got.
I don't know, because I feel like we're in a really different situation now, because the Emperor was like, "Look, I'll make you an exchange. I will give you the information on the Defiant and help you get home.
If you give me the schematics of your engine.
Yeah, if you give me the schematics for the spore drive.
Dude, that is just a recipe for fucking disaster. Oh my goodness. Because like, the thing is, let's say they give. I don't think they're gonna get the spore drive. I don't think that's gonna be.
They're gonna find some way around that. Really quick before we continue, producer Mr. Magnum, if you could go through the episode and find the name of the ship that Mirror Stamets woke up on. Woke up.
Wasn't it Defiant?
No, it wasn't Defiant. We saw a scene where there was like a display readout where someone in the audience might know. But if you could find that and grab a still for that, that'd be great.
And while we're doing that, can we talk about the Emperor class ship? Holy, that was
right.
That
thing
was
gigantic.
gorgeous.
Actually, you know what that reminded me of? That reminded me of the pyramid ships from Stargate.
A little bit.
It did look very Stargate. The coloring on it, yeah.
It was like that size of a ship with the palace on top, like the pyramid ships, but with like a Star Trek design.
Yeah, it was super cool. And my thought process is, so far the biggest Star Trek ship we've seen so far, I think, is the Dreadnought from the Kelvin timeline. And I was asking this guy over here.
Oh, it's bigger.
Like, if it's bigger.
Yeah.
Why'd you ask him and not me, huh?
I mean, I can ask you too. Do you think it's gonna be bigger?
Yes.
Okay, I think you were in the bathroom at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think this is bigger, because this looks like one of the Independence Day like motherships, like where all the other ships kind of going on. I mean, you saw the shuttle that they were on flying into it.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing
they did. Yeah, that was a good size comparison shot.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you remember the last episode, they've destroyed an entire fucking planet. Like, just with ease, like rapid fire succession. So my thought process behind this is it has to be at least. I mean, we're talking energy and sciencey stuff. It has to be at least the size of a planet.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I mean, the Death Star was about the size of a moon, but that destroyed entire planets.
So you think it's like the Death Star?
I don't think it's as big as the Death Star. Like, the Death Star is probably bigger. I would say the Palace ship is probably the biggest ship that Starfleet has, but I would say maybe a quarter the size of the Death Star. Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's just a guess, because I really don't know like what metric sizes these things were.
I think we need more fanboys to spoil this one too. Sorry, I'm still a little butthurt.
You're still really bitter about it, aren't you?
Little butthurt potato over here.
Jordan, Ryan is asking if you think the food they eat is any good. So how do you think they serve their Kelpian?
I don't know.
It looked like a soup.
Maybe.
I have a confession.
Like maybe it's like Kelpian ramen.
I was a vegetarian for 9 years and a vegan on and off during that time period. I had some health issues, so I started eating meat again. But the idea still really grosses me out, and god damn it, the idea of eating another a Kelpie and
they
walk on legs and they talk. People talk. It's gross.
So Diggs says, "How do you think Burnham is ever going to look at Saru's threat gangly again without like?"
She's not.
What if it tasted good and she's like,
Oh, that's I mean, just from the expression on her face when she was actually eating it,
she just had to.
Her eyes just bulging.
But you know what though? It looked like calamari.
It
did.
It
looked like calamari.
I mean, they look like an amphibious race.
I mean,
calamari is a squid, not a frog. Is that amphibious? That's the same thing.
Well. Underwater.
Okay, yeah.
Water based.
It's not my fault. Saru can go on my Philadelphia roll. I'm just
raw or fermented.
I mean,
wow.
I mean, he does like
with a side of kimchi.
A little Zoidbergian.
I'm gonna move on from this because we're gonna talk about this all night.
Zoidberg is my favorite.
We're gonna push forward on this.
I want a Saru recipe book. Someone out there make me a recipe for Kelpians.
Cooking with Saru, but like it's not what you think it is, you know?
Cooking with Kelpian. Okay, so let's just move on.
We got jokes.
We got jokes.
This episode had jokes.
This episode had jokes.
My favorite was the callback to Mel Brooks. It's good to be the captain.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah. That was good.
Yeah, Lorca had a moment where I guess he did some stuff with this girl named Ava. And so he's like, you know, she loved you, Sarah. It was like, I don't know, there was a lot of them. It's a good to be the captain.
This is why I was waiting for him to give it like a different name. Like every time there was a pause, we were like, Susan,
Karen,
Elizabeth,
Dolores,
Mary
with a Z, Dolores with a Z.
Yeah, no.
And for the other guy, it'd be like, Mary's my mother.
Martha.
And then Stamets.
God, I hate that
Stamets
movie.
had some good ones too.
Stamets. Let's talk about Stamets.
Yes. Yeah.
Because that was a really good.
So Stamets had some really awesome developments in this episode, and again, spoiler, he's finally awake.
He's awake.
Yeah. By the end of the episode, he's out of his coma.
By the beginning of the episode, they had named it a coma. At the end of the episode, he woke up from it.
Right.
And so he got stuck in spore space. We're gonna call it that.
What is that? The Mycelian network.
The Mycelian network.
I'm gonna call it spore space because I can't say that right. The Mycelian network. So he meets Mir Stamets, and he's like, "Hey."
Sorry.
Why did you just choke?
Diggs said, "Stella."
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Have you heard the song version of that?
No.
I will Facebook it to you when we're done.
Oh,
the second we're done.
So we have Stamets in the I've already forgot the name, the spore space.
Mycelian network.
Mycelian network, and he had some really cool jokes. You know, like play me that thing that I hate.
Yeah. No, he's play that song you love and the one that I hate.
Yeah. And that was such a sweet moment.
I
love him and Colbert as a couple. But, OTP.
Yeah, and it sucks. I'm hoping
it sucks because there's no couple now.
No, he might actually be stuck in this network where it might be the only place he sees him. Which
that is true. Yeah. So maybe like if he finds a way to save the network, maybe he'll be able to
see him again.
Because now that he's part of the network, he can travel there and back.
Yeah,
unless he gets disconnected from it after he saves it.
Well, he might because we do need to fix canon and deal with the spore drive, or maybe he'll sit there and go, I'm going to go back into the spore drive permanently to be with, and then you guys can go figure the rest of it.
Oh, but then we'd lose Anthony Rapp.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Well,
I mean, okay. So off of that, do you think this is Lorca's only season?
Ooh.
You know, this actually comes back to what I said in the very beginning. Lorca was not going to last till after the first or second season.
Because you did say that. You did say that. So I'll give you that.
We knew going into the series that Michael Burnham was going to be the main character.
Yes.
So it would make sense for her to become the actual leader of the ship in the next season.
Yeah. And I even said it. Either the first season at the end or second season in the beginning.
They were going to. You did say it. You said that around episode 4, 3 or 4.
So you were right.
PCR 2 and 2, baby.
We're coming back.
I want it.
We're doing okay.
Yeah, we're
doing okay. 50%. 50%. That's passing, right?
I mean, what?
No. What? What grading network are you on?
So I graduated.
So, going back to Stamets,
These get degrees.
We got to see that the network can be really creepy.
Yeah.
Like that network is relatively creepy. I know there's like a virus thing that's kind of going through it, but like just these visuals that they have for it is just
What I found was really interesting is that Terran Stamets was not necessarily, when we said, like, they're the Terran counterparts last week, but they don't necessarily have to be evil. And we saw that with Stamets. Terran Stamets wasn't evil.
He was sassy.
He was sassy, and he was out for his own gain, and that's how he got screwed up, because he was just in the mycelial network.
Well, so going back to that again, also in we know that there are, like, even more differences between the mirror network, or the mirror universe, and our universe now, because Burnham was not Spock's stepsister in the mirror universe.
Yeah. No. She was Georgiou's stepdaughter. Georgiou's adopted daughter.
Right. Whatever. Right. So that's interesting. So, like, I don't know how that, like, plays going forward, but that goes into more of the mirror universe not really being a different universe, but just being a different timeline.
Yeah, just being different.
I saw someone on one of the Star Trek groups bring up a really interesting point that maybe the mirror universe is a timeline that split off when Kirk and McCoy and Spock went back through the Guardian of Forever and didn't save the woman, Edith, whatever her name was. But maybe in the mirror universe they did, and that could have been the split.
Oh, I like that.
So
I'll buy that.
I want to talk about the Emperor because God, she was so cool.
Regular Georgiou was cool.
Yes,
this one's way cooler than the other one.
But what's interesting is that, you know, they're both versions of Georgiou are very similar.
Yes.
It's just that their moral ideology is different because of the universe that they grew up in.
But their actions and their heart. And I loved when she called Burnham on it and she says, "Was your Georgiou honorable?" You know, yes, right. And you can take what I'm saying to the bank because.
Dude, I'm just saying she had so much good dialogue, though,
which
like, hanging on it.
Yeah, and I mean that's interesting because that means that everyone in the mirror universe more or less is the same as their counterparts in the
as far as your character goes.
The only difference is the situations that they grew up in.
Yep.
So their ideology was determined by their surroundings.
Yes, I mean, just randomly, there's that fidget spinner of death.
Right.
That was cool.
So again, what I want to know is, was that like a Yondu type thing? Like, did she just throw it and it automatically knew what she wanted to do, or how was she controlling that, and telling it that you're gonna go through like all these people's necks?
I imagine that she might have like maybe some neural implant or something of the nature. It wouldn't be
that would be a Yondu thing.
Yeah. Like I was thinking Angelina Jolie and Wanted. He was thinking Yondu. I mean, it was kind of the same.
Kind of the same, yeah.
But I mean, there's so much like. I kind of want them to stay in the mirror episode, the mirror universe, a little longer. Just like.
Well, we know that's going to be at least another episode.
Yeah, we have one more episode, and then.
Oh yeah,
there it is. There it is.
Actually, you know what? That kind of looks like Xena's thing.
It does look like Xena. What was that called?
No, like really small.
The chakra.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are our next episode titles? Our next episode titles are "What's Past is Prologue," "The War Without, the War Within," and "Will You Take My Hand?"
So I'm assuming the War Without, the War Within might be the one where they
come back. Yeah, same.
So okay, as we saw in the next,
because I feel like "What's Past is Prologue," they've got to basically describe what's going on with Lorca.
Yeah, before we move forward though, I want to talk more about the mycelium network, because we know that Mirror Stamets did something, and whatever he did is what's causing it to be destroyed.
He stayed in too long was part of that.
Well, yeah, part of it was him being in it too long, and he ended up corrupting the system by being too, I guess the word is ambitious with it, and so you know this
which
network,
plays back to the title of the episode.
Yeah, and the thing is, while it's being broken down, this network apparently it's going to, the way he kind of explained it was ripping the fabric of time and space into shreds,
right?
Because it connects everything together.
And you're talking about the title of the episode, which they mentioned.
Yes, Vaulting Ambition.
I always enjoy that. Which, as we mentioned last week, is a reference to a Shakespeare thing.
Macbeth.
But this episode, we found out that it applied to two characters. It applied
Lorca
to Stamets and Lorca. Yeah.
So, okay. My question is, eventually the thing between the Emperor and Lorca are going to kind of come to a head. Who do you think is going to win this one? Do you think that Lorca is going to take over the ship, or do you think the Emperor is going to strike that mofo down?
Oh, Diggs is right. So Diggs says that the mirror universe is not a divergent timeline.
It's the same thing, just in another place.
It's a parallel universe and has been that way for millennia, which
the Emperor does.
Did say that, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a weird thing. She knows. Like, I think it's cool that she knows. Like, she's like, oh, you're from the Federation. You know, it's like.
Yep. But and that was as soon.
That was a good.
I didn't expect it.
That was a great scene.
I didn't expect that either. But it was cool that like at the moment, Michael was like,
Michael
listen.
expected it to be this shock and like this reveal.
Right. And at that moment, she picked up her little boomerang thing and threw it, killed all those guys.
Yeah,
and
Georgiou was kind of like, I'm not surprised by this. I know. I don't give a fuck.
So I guess my question is, do you I actually found that kind of crazy where Michael was like, oh, by the way, I'm from another universe. Like, I just want to throw that out there. Like, she totally told the truth on the matter, and then the whole dynamic I feel like the whole dynamic just changed. And like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, I felt like that was kind of like almost out of left field.
I mean, it kind of was. But
it was out of left field, but I think she had to. There was no way for her to keep the ruse.
Yeah, there's no other way for her to respond to that.
She couldn't keep the ruse up. You know, there was no other way for Burnham to keep playing.
Oh, wait. You mean it was out of left field that Michael revealed that information, or it was out of left field how?
No, it was well, both actually. But the thing is, her saying, by the way, this is from the because I usually expect like an ex machina thing to happen. Somebody comes to save the day. Nah. But she was like, no, okay, jig's up. You know, like. That was kind of
Burnham is practical, and was raised by Vulcan, so she's logical.
Right. So
she couldn't keep doing that. She couldn't keep the ruse up.
She knew that it was going to come to the point where they couldn't keep that up any longer, and determined that this was just the best time to reveal that information.
Yeah. It was a logical step to take.
Okay. Yeah.
Might not have been the right step to take, but it was the logical.
Yeah.
Well, no, it might have been the right. One. Well, no, because
that's debatable.
Because anything beyond that would have gotten her head lopped off. You know, it was like the only right one, even if it is the wrong one.
Right. And given that situation, she didn't have any other choice. It was like, okay, I can die, or I can
tell
try,
the truth and maybe not die.
Maybe not die. Right.
So back to the question at hand. That's all, folks. But back to the question at hand. Emperor versus Lorca. Who's coming out alive? Who's doing it?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think either of them are going to die. I mean, I've been wrong about shit this entire season, though. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to say that that's what's going to happen.
I'll call that we're going to be right on this one just because they have been telling a very satisfying story. They've been telling a really satisfying story, and I don't see a way where one of them dies and it continues a satisfying narrative.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
Also, both of them dying eliminates the possibility for either of them to come back later, which I know modern series aren't afraid to do that. But I feel like Lorca could potentially like escape and become like a recurring foil like later on down the line. Yeah, just like a con guy in the regular universe. Like maybe he teams up with Mud or something. Yeah, which I would. I mean,
I would love that episode actually.
We need more Mud in our lives. That's what we're trying to say.
I could see the Emperor dying and someone else coming over though.
Yeah. One thing that I just thought of, and I said this in between when we finished watching and before we were streaming, is that I feel like there was a big payoff with this Lorca thing because at the beginning of the show, so many people were saying he's out of character and this doesn't make sense and why is he acting like this and this isn't the Star Trek we know and blah blah blah. And the showrunners were saying, just go on this ride with this man, go on this ride. And even I was that person I was a proponent, like, let's just see where it takes us. Like, let's just see where we go with this.
Exactly. Like the entire season, like I think all three of us were saying, okay, we know that this is not the type of Star Trek that everyone is used to, but there has to be a reason why.
Let's just
all
go with it and see what happens. And man,
so now it's paid off, which means that opens the door for like them to move into the new direction. Yeah. Not even the new direction, but for us to be given stories that are more in line with the type of people from the Federation that we know.
Mm-hmm. So David Malby asked, hey, was the spores being dead actually Stamets' way of preventing the Empire from getting from the Mirror Universe to Prime Universe?
I don't think so. I think it was an accident.
I think it was an accident. I think it was vaulting ambition. I think he was just doing too much.
I think he was trying to control the network.
Yeah.
And either he inserted something else into himself in order to try and take more control over it, or like you said, he was just there too long and like moving around and like maybe what's happening now is like a defense mechanism that the network has trying to purge him from it. But in doing so, it's also killing itself.
And it's got that weird, like, growth thing going on in his arm.
The Mirror Stamets, I don't think, would give a shit if it bled over anyway. He seems to have a purpose for the spore drive. We don't actually know what that is yet. Like, it was I wanted to do more with it, couldn't do it, and this is why you're here, this is why you saw these visions.
But also obviously, he was in league with Lorca.
Was he?
I mean,
I don't think so.
We actually didn't get to that point. We actually don't know.
I don't know.
Who
I don't know. I don't think so.
I would say that he had to be, because we know that they had a spore drive. So how else would Lorca have known that they had to make all those different jumps and had the right coordinates to go to get to the mirror universe?
Maybe.
Like, obviously he had their quantum
That makes
frequency or
sense.
whatever.
I mean, well, okay, so he.
But to me, it would make sense that him and Stamets, at least, even if they weren't working together, they were at least in contact.
Yeah, they at least knew about each
and knew
other.
what was going on.
I mean, it would be technically possible, but how would they get in contact with each other without him actually having spore drive inside of himself? Like, it would be almost impossible to do parallel universe Skype.
No. I'm saying like
before
maybe
Lorca came over to Prime.
Lorca came over to our universe.
Okay, so he has a plan to plot these coordinates where all these, I guess, openings are, and then they just kind of flew through that.
Right.
Basically, yeah. Ryan is asking how many episodes we have left. Three episodes.
I'm so sad already about
Me
it.
too.
Ugh.
Yeah, and
That came up real quick, man.
Just like really quick, plugging something else. After we finish with, before we finish with Star Trek Discovery, Altered Carbon starts on Netflix. It's going to drop. We're still kind of figuring out how we're going to do that, because since everything drops on Netflix
at once, it's hard.
I think Sam and I have been discussing doing just individual episodes, or maybe 1 or 2 episodes at a time.
Depends on how long
it depends on how long they are, and we may do like a live tweet thing, because we were talking with
I love live tweeting.
So you can't do that with Netflix because they don't air live.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out if maybe there's a time where we say, okay, Sundays at 6 o'clock we're gonna start watching this.
Well, yeah, no, you can. I mean, I have friends who've done that with movies, and I've done it with movies where you say, okay, at 2 p.m. we're gonna watch whatever movie.
Yeah, let's pull it back to Star Trek for a minute.
Sorry, guys.
I do want to talk about Klingon brain surgery here a moment.
Yes.
I am so over Laurel. God, I hope she dies soon.
No, she can't die. She's the bridge.
But also, she kind of redeemed herself a little bit.
Not yet.
A little. Well, not redeemed herself as far as things that she's done, but as far as beginning a path to redemption, because she knew that Voke / Ash was hurting. Which I never got back to this before. We were talking about
Ash Voke.
Ash Voke, and how Saru had changed, because at the beginning of the season, I don't think Saru would ever have teleported him into someone's cell.
No. Saru would have been much more cautious and Glanglia.
Dude, Saru recently has been just giving no
He's
fucks.
had so much character growth, man.
Yeah. But so we knew that she cared for Voke, and that she didn't want to see him suffer now. So after he had been beamed in and she saw, okay, this dude is in serious agony and pain right now, she's like, all right, I'll take care of it. And she removes Voke's personality.
So Brian asked, did she actually kill Voke and do the death yell?
I think so.
I don't know. The thing is...
Well, at least she thinks she did.
The thing is, I don't know. Like, she's got these little brain surgery glove thingies on. If anything, I mean, if we talk real science for a second... if we're talking about singularity aspects, which I think by now they might have something like that, maybe she kind of like uploaded his data onto whatever these
her gloves
are. It's possible. It's a very possible thing.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know what those gloves actually did, so there's no way to know for sure. But I'm going to assume, again, I could be wrong, that she just dispersed Voke's personality because there was no way to save him because it was Ash Tyler's brain.
So let's say she tried to kill Tyler instead of Voke, would we have the same effect? Like, would it just be Voke in this body completely, or would he completely die because he needs Tyler to live with Voke as sort of a parasite?
No, I think having him imprinted on top of Tyler was a purposeful thing so that he could be activated when he needed to be.
Yeah.
So if there was a way to completely remove Tyler's personality, she probably would have done that. But
I don't think she would have, because I think they needed Tyler for the cover, Like, how else? Because the whole point was for Voke to be incognito.
No, now.
Oh, now.
Oh. Like if there was a way now that she knew that she had to end one of them, that if she was able to end Tyler's consciousness in there, I think she would have been kept Voke instead.
Well, that's just it. Like,
but it wouldn't have been Voke's body.
Well, we have a lot.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm assuming that she wasn't able to, because we know that it was Tyler's brain because they implanted Voke's personality on top of his.
Well, we have a lot of talk about war between Saru and what's her name?
Saru and
Female Klingon.
L'Orelle.
So we have talk between them, like, you know, what is war? This is war. No, this is war. Like, it kind of like, I feel like something got left out there where it's like,
well, it's funny you keep saying that because the title of episode 14 is The War Within, the War Without, and I've been thinking that's going to be an Ash Vogue episode.
Yeah, maybe.
That's possible. I mean, I could see it being a lot more of the duplicates, being like at war with yourself. So there could be a lot more Stamets in there too, with him going against each other. Because, as I said last week, you know, I wanted to see the Prime universe and what was going on there, and we got a glimpse of that with Stamets waking up. Because I'm assuming they actually did switch places.
Brian says no, it's Voke's body. Remember the scar tissue stuff. Sort of.
It's both. It's both.
It's both.
They made her turducken.
Yeah.
They opened him up and stuffed somebody else in there and closed him back up.
But I think it was Tyler's brain.
Yes.
So, okay.
And they said like they imprinted on his psyche or something. Like the phrase that she used was really cool, and I can't remember it right now.
Yeah. So if someone knows or is able to go back through the episode and check that out for us really quick, and see what exactly she said that they did.
His psyche.
But the way I took it was that they did like a 6-day type thing, and they took Voke's personality and his consciousness and implanted it into Tyler's brain on top of his.
Yeah.
Not Voke's brain and then implanted Tyler. The way I heard it was that it was Voke on top of Tyler, not Tyler on top of Voke.
So it's
this sounds real dirty.
So
it does.
It's kind of like a Counter-Strike ghost skin for your gun. You know, it's still the gun, but you just wash it over with a little bit of paint. Is that kind of how that
maybe
works?
A little bit.
It's like multiple
did you ever dissect a frog as a kid? I'm imagining like Ash with his, with the little, and he's pinned back, and they just took Vogue and just stuffed it right in there, and then closed it back up.
Totally what I thought it was.
But we kind of saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen bits and pieces of gory details here and there.
Imprinted Ash's psyche. I think that was what she said. That's what Brian just said in the chat.
If all it is Voke's psyche on there, why did they have to like? I don't know.
Well, Brian's saying that I have it backwards, that they imprinted Ash's psyche on top of Voke. I'm gonna have to watch it again to see for myself.
Yeah.
It's extremely likely that you are correct. I just don't remember, but I could have sworn that they said that it was the other way around.
But I mean, we actually had this discussion a couple weeks ago where it's like, how did they do this? Did they literally stuff Klingon
Right? Yeah.
cards?
The science is real.
Like.
Yeah.
There's no science that supports this, so they're just saying shit.
Right. Well, here's the thing, guys. If we're talking real world scenario here, like the Klingons are like 2-3 times the size of a human person to physically.
Well, I mean,
stuff.
Well, that's why they had to break all his bones and with scar tissue.
And they shaved him down and did all kinds of other crap. But I was assuming that was because like dead Tyler's body was like all broken.
Yeah,
so
me
they
too.
Had to replace shit.
I mean, I guess
it's weird.
He's a skinny guy for a Klingon.
Not that tall either.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, they have to really, like, they're fun sizing him. I don't know how to say it any other different. But,
okay.
But I still haven't gotten to talk about it yet. The war of the words between Saru and L'Orelle it's fascinating. Where it's like,
yeah, I do enjoy their interactions.
Because we've never seen them really interact up until this moment.
No.
And like Saru kind of reminds me of Data when Data ends up as captain. He's only done it for like 2 or 3 episodes, but when he did, he was a badass. And we're starting to see this development where it's like, I'm running this ship. This is how it's going to do. Oh, you don't want to help? Fine. He could die in your arms then. I'm like, ooh, savage.
Yeah, right? It was savage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I was talking about, was that it was like not, I can't say out of character for him, but that's becoming in character for him now.
I didn't expect to like Saru as much as I do. I'm not going to be quite honest about that. I did not think that I would just enjoy him.
Yeah, see, look right there. You can see how much she's actually like in pain looking at him being in pain.
And my question for this is this, and this might be a more meta question.
Hey, actually, you know what else? This is almost a parallel to Stamets. When Stamets was holding Culber.
Oh, God.
Stamets was sitting against the wall, just holding him in her arms. And that's exactly what she's doing here, too.
I'm just still grossed out because of what we thought was Klingon rape.
But
I just can't not see it when I look at her.
But again, this is it parallels it because
this is Klingon love.
But Ash is the one that killed Culber, so it's exactly the opposite of what had happened.
Well, okay, do you think the one thing I kind of, and this is maybe me not harping on canon before I say this, but like, is this Klingon?
Here we go, Sam.
No, is this Klingon-esque where it's like, I'm not used to seeing Klingons with like tearful feelings.
They have to have relationships. How do you get baby Klingons?
They do, but
like, we've seen them have relationships before.
Sure, they have relationships, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's more an emotional perspective on Klingons, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I don't know. It's just a little different.
But we've seen a lot of Klingons in the previous series, but we've never actually really seen like intimate details of
their culture,
of their culture, of like real, not even just their culture. I mean, we've seen their culture, but like their daily lives. Like we don't know.
I think that's what I meant by culture. Sorry.
Like how they form relationships with other people.
How has there not been a Klingon series yet? To be honest,
just hanging out with the Klingons.
Dude, no, I like Klingons.
Keeping up with the Klingons.
I was just gonna say that.
Keeping up with but
I guess no. It would be keeping up with the Cardassians.
God damn
it!
I hate you both so much right now. Oh, just
hands up if you would watch that.
I need you guys to.
That's the only one of those I would watch.
I need you guys to uninstall and enter humanity, please and thank you. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I would definitely love to see more of the Klingons. I don't feel like we ever get enough. Like, it's not enough because we're
just
always
can't get enough.
Just can't get. Yeah, basically. And I don't know. This is how
I know. What was okay? What was your favorite scene about this episode?
Do I have to pick one?
Yeah, two. You can have two.
I have two.
Or big moment. What what was the moment in this episode where you were like, "Holy fuck"?
Let's see. Georgiou killing all of her people. That was the oh shit moment because it doesn't seem very.
And some fava beans.
And damn it, you guys watching too. Like, what was your moment in this episode where you were like, if there was a moment in this episode where you were like, okay, shit, this is the moment of the episode for me.
Oh, and then also, like, her name was Ava. It's like, oh, he really is. Like, the moment you find out the fanboys were right again.
That was the one scene that I liked. And like I said at the beginning, I was just appropriately whelmed by this episode. It didn't do a whole lot for me. It was good, but my mind wasn't blown. But that was the scene where I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
This episode finally happened.
It was at the moment where Burnham...
When she said, "Your sensitive delight."
Were talking. Yeah, and she was like, oh, and then you could see in Burnham's face, she was like, fuck.
And it all clicked.
And the same thing for me. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, god damn it!
Like, it was literally collective fuck. It was a collective fuck here at PCR when we saw it.
No, it was not, because that sounds real bad. I was raised in the church. I don't do that.
Okay, it was a collective gasp of acknowledgement that he is Mirror Lorca. How about that for all you Disney-fied people? We'll go with that. Yeah, like, so much things just, like, clicked this episode, which is why it's such a powerful episode, which is why it's one of my favorites so far. It was just kind of, like, because everything, I wouldn't say everything seemed disorganized in some way, shape, or form, but I feel like we were kind of all looking for that moment where, like, they just punch us with the truth, and we got it finally.
Right, because, I mean, like, for me, we talked about this a few weeks ago with the first Harry Mudd episode. Not even the first Harry Mudd episode, but the episode with Harry Mudd where he...
The time loop?
The time loop.
Oh, yeah. That was a cool episode.
Yeah, where we were like, okay, this now this series is starting to feel like Star Trek. And I think that was because there was, like, none of this other side story stuff or main storyline stuff was happening.
Yeah.
It was all just about Mudd and him wanting to get revenge on the ship. And Lorca felt like he was just like a normal Starfleet captain trying to deal with what was going on at the time. Mm-hmm. And now, with all that's going on, I think we're going to get, in next season, we'll get more of those episodes. And
I think it was very, very interesting now to look back and see, like, Lorca was a good captain, even though he didn't want to be captain, and he was like a shitty captain. But because he wasn't a captain.
And, like, it's funny because, you know, after the episode finished, we were getting all ready to go live, and I left After Trek on. After Trek on.
I'm giving him my problems.
None of us have been drinking tonight. Is the sad part.
Yeah, no, I was up until 3 o'clock in the morning last night drinking though.
Oh, that would do it.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like watching them break down, like, and going through, okay, these are all the clues that Lorca left, and I'm like, yep, I wrote that off as just, okay, that's how this shit's working in the show now, and then now looking at it being
captain,
like,
or they were breadcrumbing us the whole time, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, when we're dealing with the start of the things where it's like we're dealing with opening doors with breath, versus now where everything's just like heavier than a fucking neutron star. Like, I don't think it's inherently. I don't like. It feels Trek now, but it doesn't feel like old Trek, but it feels like Trek among sides.
Yeah, like Diggs saying that it always felt like Star Trek to him, and it never didn't feel like Star Trek to me. For me, it felt like Star Trek in a serialized fashion.
Yeah, it always felt like Trek to me, which is this
not
version.
like an episodic. And that Harry Mudd episode was the first episode where I was like, okay, this is like a serialized, what we would like for serialized shows, what you would call a filler episode that doesn't really progress the storyline any further, but it's fun and it just happens. And that's what
did you know.
And that's what old Trek used to be, was just like all these episodes that, you know, there were series long arcs for individual characters, but you could watch any episode of Star Trek. It didn't matter if you saw the one before it or not, usually.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what that one felt to me as reminiscent of like that style of Trek.
Well, the thing is, I finally like what they're doing with it. Like in the beginning, I was like, I was
You were a hater.
I was the
You were a hater.
I was the biggest critic on this panel when it came to the beginning episodes of the season. And now, like,
and I still hold it against you.
Yeah, that's fine. Here's my arm. You can hold right there.
All right, so here's a question for both of you guys and for all of you guys out there. Now that we know what's going on with Lorca, and we know that he's a mirror universe version of him, obviously, you know, everyone hates Star Trek Discovery, hates it for one of two reasons. A, it's ruining canon and continuity, or B, the Klingons don't look like Klingons. Or, I'm sorry, there's 3 reasons. Or it doesn't feel like Star Trek because Lorca doesn't feel like a captain. So for those people who were like hating on it because of the way Lorca was acting and it not being in line with their moral compass of what Star Trek should be, do you think knowing this and that it does change will change their minds? Like, do you think
I think this will make them go back and watch it once they read the spoiler, because there are shows that I've given up on, Gotham being one of them, where like they say, I don't even remember what it was on Gotham, but I logged online the next morning and read all the headlines about what had happened the night before, and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna go back and watch that show again.
Well,
here's the thing. Oh no, it's bad. It's bad. It's real bad.
Star Trek.
That's for another panel, though.
Just about every Star Trek series, par for the course, always seems to have a less than stellar first season. Like always. I can't remember.
To call this less than stellar would be baloney.
I know. I can't remember. No, even with Next Generation, which I started on, the first season, I was like, okay. Because I even had to ask my dad.
This has not been less than stellar.
No. I asked my dad, should I continue watching? And he goes, just get past the first season. I go, okay. And I loved it. The thing is, we're dealing kind of with the same problem with a bunch of Trekkie fans as well, where it's like they're not going to embrace it right away. I think if they just literally start at the mirror universe and then move forward, they might actually get into it. Like even the most stalwart.
No, I think this will make people go back.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the season ends, to see if it's a potential thing, like with Doctor Who. Like, you know, like a lot of people were like, okay, if you watch the first episode of the reboot with Eccleston, and you didn't like Eccleston, go back and start from David Tennant. You don't need to watch anything beforehand. Yeah. So I wonder if you'll be able to do the same thing with Discovery, where you'll be able to pick up with season 2, if you know all the stuff that happened this season, if you didn't like what was going on, and just be like, okay, now I can get into it.
I don't know.
It will. The only way they could do that is if they don't end anything on cliffhanger. It would have to be like
absolutely.
I don't think they will.
It would have to be its own seasonal arc, and then start right at the beginning of season 2.
And that's I don't know whether they will or not, because we know that the new season isn't going to come for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a hot minute.
Yeah, they said it's going to be quite a while. So making people wait like a year instead of like the typical like 8 or 9 months for a new season, or even more than a year.
Yeah.
With this like epic cliffhanger.
And this is not a Game of Thrones where you have built an audience and you know they're going to come back regardless.
The thing is, like, and that makes sense because their budget and just everything. And
God damn it, David.
I mean, well, perhaps Mirror Stamets has an STD, and that's what's causing the problems in the Micelle network.
I hear there's a cream for that.
Stop.
Stop. I'll stop when you stop laughing. How about that?
No, I don't. I think with the way that the season has gone, I don't see them doing a cliffhanger ending.
I think they'll have to. It's either going to be something in the Klingon War that happens where it literally leaves it there, or a bigger, badder bad guy shows up. It's got to be one of the two, because at this point, I do think that Michael will have control of the ship by the end of this arc. I don't think that will happen.
I don't know that needs to be a bigger bad guy, just a different bad guy.
A different bad guy, yeah.
Well, I mean, when I say it's always a bigger, badder guy, I mean...
No, look at Buffy. There wasn't always a bigger, badder guy. It was just a different bad guy.
Yeah, it could just be a different bad guy with a different set of problems.
Yeah.
Okay, so... No, I know, there's so much...
There was so much to unpack from this episode. So where do you think... What do you think is going to happen in the next episode? Like... excuse me. Fan theories for next week.
So we get this kind of... I guess the best way to explain it is a civil war-ish between the Emperor and Lorca, which is what this sounds like, really.
Yeah. I think this is really going to fuck up Burnham, because she's got to now choose between Georgiou, who is not her Georgiou, or Lorca, who completely used her.
Right. But we also don't know who on again, going back to the whole ideological thing, like from an ideological point of view, we don't know who she's going to side with more.
Yes, and
because we still don't know why Lorca. Like, we knew that Lorca wanted to overthrow the Emperor.
Yeah.
Now we know that anyway, but we don't know why. Like, whether it was just like a quest for power.
Well, and the title of next week's episode is "What's Past is Prologue," so that's got to play into. Well, it should play into our predictions. I should say not got to, but it should.
Right.
Yeah. So I think.
So yeah. So obviously things from the past, because now again, maybe we'll go back and we'll actually see.
Yeah, we've got to go back and see what happened.
Happened, and how Lorca got over to the Prime Universe.
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to be like a flashback episode.
Well, yeah, or partial flashback. I think I would give that partial flashback.
Yeah. Or a clip episode.
Yeah.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, how big of a mindfuck do you think that next week's episode will be? I think it's gonna be huge.
As viewers, I don't think we're gonna get mindfucked. I think the characters will, though.
Yeah, I don't know, because
there is not a way for Burnham to come out of this without having her mindfucked.
We've got 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
And I mean, using the Game of Thrones formula to an extent, this episode and the previous episode would have been the 2 big ones, which obviously they were.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get a little bit of a lull for the next 2, and then the third one is going to be huge.
Ding, ding, ding.
Or potentially the next one is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
And
the last one will be cleanup.
And the next one will be cleanup. Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get that where we have because we need cleanup. Actually, we kind of need.
We need a cleanup episode. We need a cleanup episode.
Because like right now everything's like as much just dropped, and as much as we know from the back end of things, like. We need to wrap things up.
And that's another reason that I'm thinking that they won't end on a cliffhanger, because we have to have some cleanup.
Yeah. And I think there's too much cleanup for just like 10 minutes at the end of an episode, or in the middle of an episode before. Like I feel like we need an entire episode, like where like the first 20 minutes or so is resolving any past issues, just like ending what happened. The middle 20 minutes or so
it's just calm.
It is the actual cleanup, and then the last like 5 to 10 minutes is going to be like
monologuing.
Going into the next season, like letting us know where we're going into the next season.
Where no man is gone before.
I don't know. Has there? I'm gonna ask you guys and the audience in case you guys don't know, and Magnum, if you could look this up, if neither of these guys know, how long the final episode of the season is going to be. Because I don't know if it's going to be just a regular 45-minute, 50-minute episode, or if it's going to be closer to like an hour.
Nothing about that on the Wikipedia page.
You gotta ask the real questions. Does Kelpie go good with mashed potatoes?
No. I would assume it's kind of fishy.
Fish
so like
chips,
maybe,
man. Fish and chips.
maybe.
I mean, mashed potatoes go with everything. I hate that I'm contributing to this conversation, but mashed potatoes go with everything.
I would say it would be more of like a green beans.
Green beans.
Or asparagus, if you like asparagus.
Maybe like a good thick red wine too.
Klingon wine.
Klingon wine made out of some
like
other...
blood wine.
Yeah, made out of some other creep.
So where can we find you online?
Poor bastard of a
where can we find you online, guys?
Maybe a Romulan ale.
So yeah, we're gonna. You can find me. You can find me at Slimy Sammy Locke on the Instagram, on the Twitters. You can find me at Steam Bunny Productions on the YouTubes, where I do funny stuff sometimes, and you can find me at Season Deliver on the Twitter. You can also find me here at the Radic Maneuver every Sunday for the next 3 weeks until we do Alter Carbon or something else. Where can we find you?
You can find me at Lambertra. It's my last name with an extra R-A-A at the end. You can also find me here doing this and Marvel. Marvel has been changed to Monday.
Marvel Infinity Watch is now going to be on Mondays. It's either going to be 8 or 8:30. I realize that that's tomorrow, but we'll figure that out. Just
I hadn't really conceptualized it as tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah. We're just trying to figure out the schedule with people getting down here to the studio.
Brian just made a really good point really quick. So we know that the other Stamets was on the Charon, actually.
Charon, that's what it was. We never, I never got back to that.
Yeah, we actually didn't talk about that at all.
But now, is that just what the Mirror Universe's version of Discovery is called, or is that a completely different ship?
I think that's
no. It was was the Emperor's ship.
Okay.
That was the name of the Emperor's ship.
Oh wait, so was he on the ship?
He was on the Emperor's ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's gonna be really interesting to talk about next week because we're wrapping this up.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it was good to end on me because I've always got all of our all the plugs. So I'm Josh. You can find me on Twitter at It's the Goldman. You could find me doing stuff behind the scenes for that hashtag show. Last night we had a lot of fun up until like 3 o'clock in the morning on our Twitch channel. We were playing Jackbox Party Pack 3.
Oh yeah, I do that every Thursdays too.
So that seems like that might be a more regular thing now.
Yeah, I'd like that.
You can find, like Jordan said, tomorrow, the Infinity Watch at either 8 or 8:30 tomorrow night. Make sure on Facebook you go to our Facebook group called THS Hashtaggers. If you just type THS Hashtaggers into your search bar, it should be the only thing that'll come up. Make sure that you subscribe to that hashtag show and like that hashtag show to keep up with everything that we're doing. And we will see you guys.
Wait! I gotta answer two more questions.
No.
Right now, when Sam answers these questions.
Yes, Jalen just asked Joe about doing Transformers. I mean, he's the guy in charge of that nonsense. And then, oh no, everyone's asking questions.
All right. Let's keep going.
One more. There was one more question. I can't find it.
We may do Transformers.
What was the Discovery sister ship? It's probably gonna be the Discovery stuff. We actually don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know what happened with that. That's kind of what I was hoping to find out in this week's episode, but someone just killed my theory that we found that out because we now know that Stamets was on the Emperor's ship.
Yes. Did the Mirror Universe figure out tardigrades?
We don't know yet.
My guess, I actually did want to bring this up before, is that Stamets killed a tardigrade trying to figure out what was going on.
Because he's bad Stamets.
And perhaps that is what may have initiated.
Because he's a bad Stamets. Yeah, I get
everything going on.
Maybe
because they don't have the same morals that we do when it comes, so they were doing all kinds of experiments on
maybe
them.
It's like a quantum entanglement thing where you need both tardigrades for it to work, and then one dies, and now it's all out.
That's very possible.
Okay.
Cool. With that being said, thank you guys for watching the Riker Maneuver. Catch us next week on Sunday at 7.
7 o'clock.
Outstanding.
Next week.
Right here at Pop Culture Renegades.
Peace. Can't see my other arm. Looks weird.